Get ready to grab a box of tissues because we're about to dive deep into the most gut-wrenching, tear-jerking, emotionally devastating horror movies ever made. From tragic backstories to heart-wrenching endings, these films will leave you sobbing long after the credits roll. We're counting down the top 5 saddest horror movies that will leave you an emotional wreck. Buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster of emotion on this episode of Ranking Rumble. Welcome back to WWH. My name is Andrew Dreamer. Sad horror movies occupy a unique space within the genre, capable of evoking emotions far beyond the typical jump scares and gore. By intertwining tragedy and terror, these films tap into the deepest fears and our vulnerabilities, creating a profound sense of empathy for characters facing unimaginable horrors. Their suffering often mirrors our own existential anxieties, reminding us of life's fragility and the inevitability of loss. This existential undercurrent sets these films apart. Instead of simply providing cheap thrills, they force us to confront the harsh realities of existence. We witness characters grappling with questions of mortality, the meaning of life, and the cruel indifference of the universe. This philosophical depth elevates the horror experience, leaving a lasting impact long after the film ends. It's this blend of emotional devastation and existential contemplation that makes the sad horror movies so effective. They resonate with audiences on a profoundly human level. Ultimately, these films offer a cathartic release for our own fears and sorrows. By witnessing characters endure and overcome hardship, we find a sense of solace and resilience. But sad horror movies, they leave me emotionally drained, but they also remind me of the strength of the human spirit, even in the face of overwhelming darkness. A horror movie's goal is to evoke some sort of emotional response, and sad horror movies just do it in a different way than the traditional horror movies. But it is bell time, so grab your popcorn and make your way to your seat. Let's head down to the ring. Starting us off at number 5 is The Strangers. This film is an exercise in sustained dread that leaves a lingering sense of unease. The film's chilling effectiveness stems largely from its relentless focus on the victim's helplessness and the senseless cruelty of their attackers. The film introduces us to Kristen and James, a young couple seeking solace in a secluded vacation home. It's already sad because James proposed and was turned down earlier in the night. Their evening is further shattered by the arrival of masked intruders who subject them to a night of terror. The attackers' motives remain shrouded in mystery, adding a layer of existential dread to the proceedings. We, much like the protagonists, are left grappling with the chilling realization that evil can strike without reason or warning. The Strangers' slow burn approach to horror allows the tension to build gradually, creating an atmosphere of suffocating dread. The prolonged scenes of the couple's desperate attempts to survive, coupled with the attackers' cold indifference, contribute to the film's unsettling power. The lack of a clear resolution or explanation for the events further amplifies the sense of despair, leaving viewers with a haunting reminder that the it's got an inherent darkness. This movie is here mostly because of the tone throughout. It's bleak and depressing the entire runtime straight through the ending. But let's move on now. By the way, don't forget to body slam that subscribe button so you never miss any of the heart-pounding, chill-inducing 5-star matches we have here at WWH. We're not just wrestling with horror. We're delivering it to your screen every week. Coming in at number 4 is Carrie. Carrie is a gut-wrenching exploration of loneliness, bullying, and the destructive power of repressed rage. We are drawn into Carrie's world of isolation and torment, feeling her pain and humiliation at every turn. Her desperate longing for acceptance and love is palpable, making her ultimate destruction all the more tragic. The effectiveness of the film's sadness lies in its relentless portrayal of Carrie's suffering. The audience is forced to witness the cruelty inflicted upon her, both at home and at school. The prom scene, where Carrie's moment of happiness is shattered in a horrifying display of public humiliation, is particularly devastating. This constant barrage of emotional blows makes it impossible to remain detached from what Carrie is going through. The film's ending, where Carrie unleashes her telekinetic powers in a bloody rampage of revenge, is both cathartic in a way and deeply saddening. While there's a slight sense of satisfaction in seeing the bullies get their comeuppance, we're also left with a profound sense of loss. Carrie's death and the destruction she leaves in her wake serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked cruelty and the devastating power of isolation. The final scene, where Sue Snell's nightmare vision of Carrie's bloody hand reaching out from the grave, it leaves a lingering sense of unease and sorrow. It's just the perfect way to end this movie with the tone that they were going for. Next up at number 3, we have Would You Rather. This is a film that burrows deep into the psyche, creating an atmosphere of unrelenting despair. The film's central premise, a sadistic game of would you rather with life or death consequences, serves as a relentless engine of psychological torment. We're thrust into a nightmarish scenario where the characters are forced to make agonizing choices, each one more morally compromising than the last. The film's power lies not in its graphic violence, but in the quiet moments of desperation, the silent exchanges of glances that reveal the characters' inner turmoil. The effectiveness of the film lies in its gradual escalation of dread. It doesn't rely on cheap jump scares or gore, but instead it meticulously constructs a sense of hopelessness. As the game progresses, the stakes become increasingly higher and the characters' options become increasingly limited. The viewer is trapped alongside the characters, witnessing their moral compromises and the erosion of their spirits. We see the toll that the game takes on them, both physically and emotionally, and we feel their desperation as they struggle to survive. Despair just permeates every frame of the film. From the dimly lit mansion where the game takes place to the haunted expressions on the characters' faces. The color palette is muted, the sound design is minimalist, and the pacing is deliberate. This all contributes to the oppressive atmosphere. The film's ending, while offering that slight glimmer of hope, is far from triumphant. I mean, Iris suffers and goes through this whole demented game, and you think, okay, maybe things will be okay. But no. Instead, we find out it was all for nothing as she returns home to find her brother dead. She may have escaped the game, but she will never, ever escape the choices that she made and the feelings that will be left behind. Our number 2 entrant in this rumble is Eden Lake. Eden Lake is a relentless descent into despair. It's a horror film that expertly manipulates your emotions by dangling glimmers of hope before gradually extinguishing them. This emotional roller coaster is central to the film's effectiveness. It leaves you with a lingering sense of dread and helplessness throughout. The film's opening scenes establish a sense of normalcy and idyllic beauty as the young couple, Jenny and Steve, embark on a romantic weekend getaway to a picturesque lake. This initial tranquility serves to amplify the horror that follows, as the couple's peaceful retreat is shattered by a confrontation with a group of delinquent teenagers. As the situation escalates, the film repeatedly teases the possibility of escape or rescue, only to cruelly snatch it away. A chance encounter with a seemingly friendly child offers a brief respite, but unwillingness to intervene leaves Jenny isolated and even more vulnerable. She has already seen her husband tortured and killed, and now she is completely on her own. Each extinguished hope deepens the sense of despair, culminating in the film's devastating climax. Jenny accidentally runs into the teenager's parents' house, and it leads to this final, brutal confrontation where we're just led to believe that she is killed as well as the parents try to protect the kids. The film's refusal to offer a happy ending leaves a profound sense of sadness and a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of ordinary life. Our final entrant in this ranking rumble is The Mist. It never could have been anything else in my mind. Directed by Frank Darabont, The Mist is a masterclass in creating a pervasive sense of despair and dread. From the eerie, otherworldly mist that engulfs a small town to the grotesque creatures that lurk within, the film relentlessly builds an atmosphere of suffocating hopelessness. The characters trapped in a supermarket grapple not only with the external threat, but also with the unraveling of their own sanity, their fears and prejudices amplifying the horror. This pervasive sadness serves to heighten the emotional impact of the film. The audience is forced to witness the characters' descent into desperation, their dwindling hope mirroring our own anxieties about the unknown. As the film progresses, each death, each act of sacrifice further darkens the narrative, leaving you with a gnawing sense of unease. The gut punch ending of The Mist solidifies its place as the most devastating in cinematic history, at least in my mind. In a moment of utter despair, David makes an unthinkable choice, believing that he's sparing his loved ones from a fate worse than death. There are 5 of them left and only 4 bullets. He kills everybody in the vehicle, including his own son, and then awaits his fate with the creatures. However, in a cruel twist of fate, his actions are revealed to be in vain as rescue appears just moments later. It leaves you with an overwhelming sense of emptiness and just flat out regret. This ending serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of hope and the devastating consequences of despair. It leaves a lasting impression, forcing us all to grapple with the bleakness of the human condition and the darkness that lurks within us all. Stephen King himself, who wrote the short story on which this film was based, praised this ending, even going as far as saying he wishes he would have came up with it. And that is why The Mist is the saddest horror movie of all time. But there you have it. That is it for this list. Let me know what you think is the saddest horror movie of all time down in the comments. I love hearing from you all and getting your opinions, so I really do appreciate it. If you're interested in Redcon One products, I have a discount code you can use to save 20% off of your entire order. Check that out. And you can also find all of my merchandise at prowrestlingtees.com/AndrewDreamer. And I've been working on the Patreon page for WWH. I've made some changes to it, so go check that out and consider joining us over there. All of the links are down in the description. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of the action here at WWH. Now that we've talked about the saddest films in horror history, which ones are the scariest? Luckily, you can find out by watching the video that's appearing on the screen. And remember, in the squared circle of horror, there are no countouts for nightmares. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.